This is the advice I'd give myself back in 2020. I was asked this question on a podcast the other day. I was a guest on it, and to be honest, it absolutely stumped me. And the answer I gave, I can't remember exactly what I said. I just remember the answer I gave. It wasn't authentic. And I think I just made up some kind of BS because it sounded nice. And I think I probably did that because I got caught off guard. And so I tried to give this kind of good answer, but do you know what? Actually, I came off the podcast and I'm thinking that wasn't authentic, like it wasn't aligned with me. And I've been thinking about this question, like what would I say to myself back in 2020? And that year I'd gone full time in my business for the first time. And remember, in 3 months within to that year, the pandemic kicked in. And I thought about this question now, and what I would say, like, if I got a chance and I could speak to myself back in 2020, what is the advice that I'd give myself? I do think there's probably 3 things that I would say. And I know these 3 things would resonate with you, and that's why I'm doing this video, because I know this advice, ultimately, I want it to be helpful for you. The first thing, if I got this chance, the first thing I'd say to myself is stop running away from the shit that actually matters. And because of my own fears, because I was afraid of what people thought about me, I was afraid of putting myself out there to be seen and to be visible. I was this fresh, wet behind the ears, newbie into business. And I was intimidated. Like, I didn't feel the self-worth. I didn't feel like deep down, I didn't feel like I provided any value. And that showed in my actions. And ultimately, the stuff that I was running away from, I wasn't reaching out to people. I wasn't messaging people. I wasn't calling people. I wasn't having those conversations. And if you're going to make any kind of money in business, you got to talk to people. You got to put yourself out there. You've got to reach out. You have got to email people. You've got to message them. You've got to speak to them. If you can, you've got to call them, text them, whatever form of communication you possibly can to get a conversation going with somebody to find out if they need help from you, where you could then potentially offer your products and your services. And I simply was not doing that enough. Simply not doing it at all. And I would find any excuse under the sun. I would do other things in my business. I would do strategy, creating offers. I'd do lots of learning, right? Because I was burying myself and avoiding the things that actually mattered. And I knew as well that I should be posting consistently. I regret not starting a YouTube channel 5 years ago. This channel would be a lot further ahead by now, but I kept putting it off. And I think maybe I did a couple of videos, I put something out there, but it was never consistent. It wasn't something that I'd made the decision and I'm gonna do this forever. From now on, I'm gonna do it. It was just like, I'll do a bit of it, see what happens. Oh, I'm not getting the results I want, I'll stop it. It's too scary, I've got the fear, and I wouldn't follow through on it. And I regret doing that because I'd be a lot further ahead. So that's the first thing, like stop running away from the shit that actually matters. Stop running away from the stuff that's actually gonna get you success in life. So many people are hiding. They don't wanna be seen, they don't wanna be visible. But ultimately, the fact of the matter is, if you are going to be successful in any endeavor, you got to be seen. You got to put yourself out there to make sales, to make money, to be able to help people as well. And the second piece of advice I'd say is stop buying courses. I had invested so much in myself. In the coaches, the sales training, the marketing training, the business training. And some of it was, 90% of it was so valuable. I learned so much, it was fantastic. But it got to a point where I just kept hearing the same knowledge over again. And my mentor, Mac, he said to me, look, he said, Tom, if you are hearing the same knowledge over and over again, the problem is not the lack of the knowledge. The problem is you. And that was a wake-up call for me. I realized that by seeking more knowledge, it's not gonna help me. So I had a coach. I had somebody holding me accountable. Perfect. That's what I needed. I had acquired the business knowledge. That's what I needed to work on. I just needed to implement what it is that I'd been learning. In fact, I remember went to one seminar. It was like a multi-speaker conference. And one of the presenters was selling a sales training. And you gotta remember at the time, I was terrified of selling. I didn't like doing it. And I think at that time, I maybe had about £500 or something in my personal account. I didn't have a lot. I was struggling at the time with money. And I went to this conference, and after offer was made to do this like 3-day sales training. I thought, that's nice, but I can't do that right now. I don't have the money. And one of the sales guys from that team came and found me in the audience, and I had built up a bit of a relationship with me, and I don't know, he just singled me out and was like, yeah, are you doing this? Like, I know you're struggling with sales. Are you jumping on this course? I don't have the money. Being honest, I've got about 500 quid left. And he got me to take I paid like £100 deposit, and the agreement was I was going to pay the balance. I didn't feel good inside about doing it. And I'm the adult. It was my responsibility to say yes. But at the same time, I've kind of felt like I had my arm twisted into it a little bit. But it was my responsibility to say yes and do it. And I should have been firm, and I should have said, no, I'm not doing it. Right? The way to get better at sales is to jump on calls, speak to people, and learn that way by actually being in the trenches. Anyway, I paid the £500 or whatever for this course. I went to it. It was 2 or 3 days long, and I didn't really learn anything. If I'm honest, I didn't really get much value out of it. And I would have been a lot better keeping that £500 in my bank account. And do you know what? Instead of doing the 2 or 3 day course, actually just getting on the phone and speaking to people and learning about sales that way. That would have been the better way to do it. And so in situations like that, I was investing in courses, investing in seminars, and I'd done all that, but I kept doing it thinking that it was going to get me the golden answer so I could have that breakthrough. The only way to get a breakthrough is to just take some damn action and do what you need to do, right? That is the only way through it. If you're gonna make sales, then it's gonna be down to the number of people that you speak to. If it's gotta be, you're gonna be posting lives on social media or whatever it is, do it. Attending networking, do it, right? You don't need to go to a seminar to learn about that stuff. You need a coach, somebody who hold you accountable, they can keep you on track, but you go and do the activity that actually matters. And then the third advice I'd say is just really knuckle down on your money management. I knew in the back of my mind that I needed to do it. I'd learnt it. I knew the system. But saying I know that is one thing, but unless you can actually implement it, like, it doesn't mean anything. And I knew that I should be implementing this system, and I maybe did it for a month, but then I'd stop and I'd overspend. I'd spend beyond my means. And that got me into a lot of trouble. I talk about this in some of my videos. That got me into a lot of trouble because I kept being in denial about the problem I had. And what I really needed to do is delete the negative habit of overspending my money and knuckle down on learning how to manage money. I would have sped up my journey and I would have accelerated myself, I think by definitely 2 or 3 years if I'd managed money. In fact, because I didn't, I ended up having to default on loans. It was like I got a bankruptcy order against me, and that set me back a number of years. And I wish I just focused on money management because I'd be a lot further ahead. And I want to say the same to you. It's like, first of all, do the stuff that actually matters, right? Because that's, at the end of the day, that's all that's going to move you forward. Stop buying more courses. If you've never learned anything, then yeah, do a course, go to a seminar. If this is your first time into the world of business, go and learn from somebody who's been in business. I hope I can be that person for you through these videos, but it's okay to invest in yourself. The problem is when you keep learning the same information, the same knowledge, but you're still not getting the results you want. The problem isn't the lack of knowledge, as I said. The problem is with you not taking action. So if you're in that situation, stop buying more courses, like save your money. The experience comes from you implementing. And then the third thing is knuckle down on your money management. Make sure that every single month, the amount of money that you earn, you spend below your means. If you're still in a job, if you're in a 9-to-5, this is a fantastic time to work on this skill because you've got consistent income. So that means you can foretell, you can see the future, it's predictable what your income is going to be and what your expenses are going to be as well. It's a great time to learn the skill of money management. So that's my advice. That's what I'd say to myself back in 2020, the year of the pandemic. God forbid we have another one, but who knows at this stage? Who knows what's going to happen in the world? But if you are starting your journey and you are thinking you're sick of your job, you want to get out of it, you want to get into business, I know these 3 bits of advice for you are going to be very helpful if you follow them. It's your choice.